Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Benefits Mom podcast. I am your host, Tara Nickel, and if you're looking to gain back your mom sanity, you are in the right place. We cover everything motherhood: kids, relationships, school, work, even that dreaded C word, chores. We cover it all. My goal is to help you take back control of your life and find that happy place as a mom. Because when it benefits mom, it benefits everyone. Enjoy this episode. Thanks everyone for tuning in to another episode. I'm super excited about our guest today and also excited to see and hear that the podcast is impacting so many moms out there, and we're getting a lot new listeners and advocates for the podcast. So thank you everyone for tuning in every week to the podcast. I truly appreciate it, and it certainly helps spread the mission of Benefits Mom. So today we have Elizabeth Holman. She is an amazing working mom. She's got two boys, they're twins, who also have diabetes, but her big work is she is the president of the Holman Group, and they are a group that provides mental health benefits through EAPs. For those of you who don't know what that stands for, that's an employee assistance programs, substance abuse benefits, wellness programs, all those great things. So we talk about really the stress that a lot of moms out there are facing today with having to do remote schooling, virtual learning, and also trying to work and run the family. She gives some great advice and some great resources that you can check out in the notes of the podcast if you need any of them for whatever reason. So let's get into this episode and enjoy. Elizabeth, welcome to the Benefits Mom podcast.
Hi, thank you so much, Tara, for having me today on your show.
Yes, I'm very excited to talk to you. I know you are very big in the mental health space, but for those of my audience who's not familiar with your work, let's give a little bit of a snapshot on what you're doing these days.
Wonderful. So hi, everyone. Thank you so much for listening in to Tara's Benefits Mom podcast. The Holman Group is where I'm president currently, and the company's been around for about 40 years, and I run our business, which is a nationwide mental health specialty plan. We help employees, their family members, their dependents, and any members who have our coverage actually abstain from mental health benefits. Abstain, I'm gonna have to edit that out. To abstain from drugs and alcohol and to get assistance for mental health issues.
Great. That's definitely something that is on a lot of people's mind with COVID and being home all the time with, even family and friends that you are close with, but you're not used to being so much in close contact. What have you seen a big rise in as far as those issues go?
So we're seeing exactly what is happening on the news, and we're seeing it in more severe cases. For example, the top 3 areas that we're seeing are stress, anxiety, and depression. And we're seeing people self-treating or self-curing with alcohol. There's a huge increase in alcohol, especially among our seniors and our elder population who are isolated and who are alone. We're also seeing the stress and anxiety around not having a break at all, having the same day. I joke like a Groundhog's Day, where it's the same day over and over, and not really being able to have a space for eating dinner versus a space for working versus a space for, relaxing, not really having a separation of space. A lot of people have smaller homes, or even the open floor plan in their home, which was really popular for many years, where they don't have that true separation of their space. The other thing is the stress around having to perform or having to be at a certain standard. And it's this internal standard that we set where, we have to be good at Zoom, or we have to be good at helping our kids with their homework, or we have to be good at, being present for work and being on all the time. And I think people are realizing that those standards were maybe goals at the very beginning. We had really lofty, high goals. And now we're realizing it's okay to be where we're at and to not have to be the overachiever.
Yes, absolutely. You touched on some amazing points, and I appreciate all of your insight. I want to go back to the creating a space, because one thing I talk to moms a lot about is finding that separation between when you are working and when you are going to be with your family. So what kind of do you use in your house to kind of keep that together?
We have a rule now where we actually, don't eat in our rooms. We used to eat, we recently moved, and we separate the eating from the school or the living space to say this is now lunchtime, because the school has a clear break for lunch, where the teachers don't teach for 30 minutes to an hour. So they have a clear break and a different room that they go into for lunch. And that really helps that, now is break time, now is school time. So that's one of the things that I do for my kids. Also, when we come together as a family, we watch a movie on a particular TV in a particular room, and that is where we relax as a family and, watch our movie. If one of my sons is in his room, I know that that's a signal that he really wants some downtime for himself. And he very rarely wants me to go, watch a show with him in his room. And so just respecting those boundaries and making everybody feel that their space is sacred.
I like that, making everybody's space be sacred, because that's definitely something that you want to instill in your kids too, because they're going to be home, for those that are virtual learning now, that this is the space that we're going to have our meals, and this is a space that I will respect for you to do school or to just be by yourself.
Exactly. And I think for me, I was cleaning a lot more also. And I have to realize, though, I can set an example and say, okay, if we're done with this water bottle, or we're done with this item for drinking water, or something else, that we, need to return it eventually to its proper space. At some point, the water bottles start to pile up, or the glasses start to pile up, and I have to really, remind myself to not be going around and picking things up. Just because I might be working from home doesn't mean that I'm a robot and that I go around cleaning all day long, because I see it and I want to remove it, right? And
Right.
so I think that might be hard for other people as well, who, whether they're stay-at-home moms, whether they're work from home moms, or their dads, or grandmas, grandpas, aunts, and uncles that are helping with online schooling, education, these pods that are forming. I think it's important to really say, okay, I'm only going to clean from 5 to 6 today, or I'm only going to clean twice a week, and it's going to be what it's going to be.
Yes, I think you just touched on a really good point, and I know you brought up earlier, is like, it's going to be what it's going to be. I can do what I can do. I think that's such an important message, because like everybody wants to try to do everything the right way, but this is all new, so no one really knows how to do the right way. We're all kind of learning together how to go through this.
Exactly, exactly. And, um, back to the stress, anxiety, and depression, some of us may have had some minor feelings about that, or what was called situational depression, anxiety, or stress that was really brought on by certain types of situations that we find ourselves in, or something that triggers it. And when we don't have something resolved with our feelings or get some type of help, it can affect us, it can affect others, and we may not even see that we're going down this path or spiraling, especially those that live alone. One of the things that can come out of major depression, anxiety, and stress, if it gets really bad, is we've seen an increase in suicide attempts, which is very serious. And there's a lot of resources out there, and sometimes people don't know that they need help. So while we're talking about, maybe the everyday person who has some mild stress, anxiety, or what's called situational depression, there are people that might be one prescription refill away from a major breakdown or a hospitalization, and we may not know the signs and symptoms or how to offer people help. I wanted to bring up some resources that are available, for your listeners as well. The SAMHSA, it's SAMHSA. They have a hotline and they have resources available to help you find therapists or find facilities. And, we can give the number and the website later at the end, or you could post it later when you post
For
the
sure.
podcast. Some people may not have insurance, especially if you have people living in your household with multiple generations in one household, or they might have state-run insurance or some type of federal, Medicare type of coverage. So depending on your coverage, there are free resources available for you. And, one of the things that we may not realize is so important right now during COVID is to over communicate, to reach out and send a text message, pick up the phone, send an old fashioned letter or note card in the mail. Look for somebody that we might have gone to college or high school with and just reach out and say, how are you doing?
Yes, I totally agree with the over communicate. I don't think you can communicate enough in this time when we're all isolated and we're not, seeing each other as much. As a business owner and a woman business owner, how are you doing that within your own company?
So thank you, Tara, for asking that question. It's important to me because I practice that in my personal life, and in our business, we also follow that and practice that. What we do is we now have platforms where we can actually see each other. We encourage people to put on the camera during our meetings, and I usually set the example if I'm leading the meeting to put my video on. Some people may feel more shy, or they don't have a video camera that works as well. Though we also draw people in, ask them questions, go around the room and ask people what they think, what are their thoughts about the topic. So we really want to draw them in. We have several different types of meetings where we come together once a month as all managers, where we say, how are your staff doing? How are you doing? How are people feeling? Of course, is the technology working? Are you running into any issues or concerns? Is your computer working? Is your phone working? So we always do a check-in, of the basics. And then we also want to just know, how are you feeling? What are your thoughts? Do you want to share anything about your experience with the group? Or do you have any tips or tools for others? And then we also let them know that we're helping our clients with these very issues. We're helping our clients with, how elder care and caring for others is changing. How, resources are available for at-home tutoring and online learning, and these learning pods that are forming where people have to go to work and they're getting friends, family, neighbors to help, so the child can Zoom at their neighbor's house or Zoom at a family member's house because they have to go to work. And so sometimes by sharing with our own staff about what we're doing for our clients, they actually get the benefit of what we're doing, because really, if our clients are experiencing it, our employees are also experiencing it. And I have to tell you, sometimes just announcing once a week, once a month, that so far we have no positive cases of COVID, that is sometimes a huge relief for people that have to come into the office once a week or may want to come in twice a week because they want to know that they're in a safe environment. And what people don't realize is that there are so many ways, if you really do want to isolate due to health or some other situation in your household, you really don't have to go out, other than exercise or the park or what people might want to do. They don't have to go to their grocery store. They don't have to go run an errand, because a lot of things are now available by delivery, or people leaving it on your doorstep shopping for you. So I think that sometimes, especially those that are working and dealing with COVID, they sometimes forget what resources are available to them. So I'd say, just reminding our own employees about the resources that are out there, because as they sometimes say, what is it? The cobbler's children have no shoes, if you've heard of
Right.
that expression. So Tara, you asked a great question, because we're so busy sometimes helping others that there are people right under our noses that need our help. And so even though it may seem like we're bringing up the same thing over and over in a meeting, how are you doing? It can change on a moment's notice, and it's important to keep asking that question.
I agree, and I think it's a great sign of good leadership when, like you're saying, you put on the video, you share what you're going through, you share what your clients are going through, and create, not just a safe, healthy environment, like physically, but a safe, mentally healthy environment, so that they can share struggles they're going with, and they know that it's going to be accepted and there's not going to be any repercussions for struggling with homeschooling or struggling with getting groceries, or whatever their personal issues are during these very unique times that we're all going through.
Exactly. And also, being neutral and trying to stay positive and in a space of gratitude. There's a lot of challenging situations in the world right now. And so we make it a safe, neutral environment where people can learn and grow. And, we're dealing with fires, we're dealing with civil unrest, we're dealing with a changing environmental political climate, and we don't push any agendas or any opinions. We just offer resources, like you said, Tara, a mentally safe space, and embrace a virtual hug, because we used to do handshakes, we used to do high fives. Now we can do an elbow if we're lucky. If we see somebody and kind of, bump elbows, I guess that's the safe greeting nowadays. And, just reminding people that, you can make good choices every day. And whether you want to read a book for your own, mental health and growth, whether you want to take a shower or a bath, for some of us busy parents, taking a shower is a luxury. I know my
Yes.
kids always call me or start fighting right when I'm in the bathroom.
Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? Oh, yes.
So, with everything going on, I think as long as we are moving forward And we're also reflecting on where we've come from. I just had a birthday yesterday.
Yay, happy belated birthday.
Thank you. And I thought I was going over to my grandmother's house just for a socially distanced small birthday. She had a surprise, and both my aunts and uncles, so I had 4 other people there, which, we socially distanced and, got to catch up, and people came in at different times. And I couldn't figure out how to blow out the candles because I didn't want to blow the candles out. And so my children were there, and we started waving and clapping our hands to try to blow out the candles as they were melting, and it really wasn't working. It was a really interesting birthday. So my son put his t-shirt over his face and his nose and then tried to blow it out through his t-shirt. So
very creative.
It worked. And I reflect back on times where I had larger gatherings. I had even work holiday parties, or we celebrated more birthdays in the workplace. And it's really, really important to, embrace every new opportunity and every new experience, because it's never going to be what it was in the past because of where we are now. And it really made me appreciate everything that I've had that maybe I took for granted. Maybe that family dinner of 12 core people in my family. Okay, so I had one every year, or we had 12 a year because there was 12 core people in the family, and we would always have a birthday dinner. I almost started crying last night because I've never had a surprise party. And even though it was a small gathering, I felt like these people in my family risked their lives to come and celebrate my birthday. And so it really warmed my heart. It really made me stop and think, that phrase of stopping and smelling the roses. And I was very grateful. I'm grateful today. I've had text messages and Facebook messages, and it really makes me feel appreciated and connected. And so back to the over communication and helping others and reaching out to others. You have no idea where somebody is, what state of mind they're in, or if they're having a hard day or a hard time, or they just got bad news, they just got an eviction notice for where they live, their car could have been repossessed. We never know where somebody else is, and that smile or that message or that human touch would just change somebody's position or their station in life. And not to say that we're going to be doing earth-shattering things all the time. I just want to tell you how grateful I am today to even be talking to you and to have connected with you, and to be able to speak to all of your listeners who, maybe there's something that this reminds them of that they want to do, that somebody they want to reach out to, or maybe they want to start taking care of themselves or let themselves off the hook.
Yes, and I am definitely grateful to be talking with you and sharing all of your insight with the listeners here. I think everybody should definitely, if you weren't taking notes, definitely listen to it again to take some notes and know that we are all here for each other to get through this, and just to be grateful and know that you don't have to be perfect today. Elizabeth, I can't thank you enough for coming on to the podcast today. You shared some amazing tips, and we'll definitely put those references in the notes of the podcast. And I'm grateful to have got a chance to meet you and chat with you. And thank you so much again for sharing all your great wisdom today.
Thank you so much.
Thanks again for tuning in to the Benefits Mom podcast. If you have been enjoying these episodes, please share them with a fellow mom friend of yours and head over to Apple Podcasts and give us a 5-star review. And remember, if it benefits mom, it benefits everyone. Have an awesome day.